Hang on, my camera is pointing the wrong way. There we go. No, it's still pointing the wrong way. Hey, we live, do you reckon?
I'll tell you. Let's see.
I think we've got audio.
Here we go. It's all happening. There I am. Wow.
Cool. I'm just going to have to sort that out while we do that.
Hey, guys. Welcome to That Pedal Show Live.
I can't make him less bright. There you go.
Isolation edition.
Nice.
Nice.
Right, now I've got to see if I can log into the video because I was unable to do that just a minute ago. Hello, everybody.
Okay. We're on.
Obviously,
hey, everyone.
Struggling with technology badly as usual. We'd like to say a big thanks to YouTube who've turned off Studio Classic. So nothing works.
Yuppie, Farron Leal, Carlos Mendez, John Channing,
Dan,
Patrick Payne, Braveheart Reefer. Nice.
Can you ask people if they can hear you okay?
Dan Headroom. Yes. I had a few of the Max Headroom comments. I remember seeing that film when I was like really young. Blew my mind. Yes. Hey guys, how you doing? Mick will be with. Here he comes. No, he's not. No, not quite.
He's teasing you.
Right. Hope you've all had a good week. It's been surreal and challenging and eventful, but we're still here. Well, sort of. I'm locked in a box. It looks like Mick is tidying cables from what I can see.
Have they turned off the live studio bit
events
where you can
Hey Stratcat and Tony Velupalai. Hey guys, hope everyone is well. Yes, we're all well, Tony. Thank you very much. Just struggling with technology. Doing things remotely comes with a whole new bunch of issues. But you know, hey, we embrace it. Thomas Nissen says it sounds good. The sound is good quality. Great, awesome. Thank you. Darren C asks, is Dan having an out-of-body experience? Very much so. Mick will be with us in a second. What Mick's done is he has patched my audio from my phone into the speaker. And I think that's what you're hearing. It's hilarious. And the speaker is my buff body. One fun thing about being in isolation is I'm eating through boredom. Not boredom, but frustration. So that's going to, next time I get into the studio, I think I might need a second stool. Ben Hood Music says, best part of the day. Oh, thank you, Ben. That's great. John Elliott says, just got my D&M drive before isolation, paired it with a Hudson Broadcast, an EP booster, as gain stages to a Fender bass breaker. Nice. I bet that sounds great, actually. Cool. Matt Foster says, have you lost weight, Dan? Absolutely not. I put on an extraordinary amount of weight. Like in the last week, it's been ridiculous. Cool. Slow mode is on. Stuart Taylor says, just don't start on biscuits. Yeah. I'm yet to go to biscuits. Oh, here we go. Nina Head. Dan's filling that T-shirt out nicely. Thanks for the show, guys. Thank you, Nina, and appreciate that's very generous of you. Thank you so much.
You've got a bit of bubble wrap hanging out of your sleeve there, Dan. Is my head off the top of the screen, Bevers?
Perfect. No, you're good.
Okay, good. Right,
And relax.
I'm in the game.
Ooh, ooh, ooh. Ah,
I'm in the game.
that tickles.
I'm finally in the game. Let us know how the balance of the voices is. Dan, say hello, Mick.
Hello, Mick. How are you, buddy?
Yeah, you seem a bit quiet. I don't know if you are or not. I'm all right.
I miss you.
I miss you too, mate. We've all missed. It's. I guess we should say to everyone. Well, it is literally everyone, isn't it? Dealing with the COVID-19 coronavirus fun. We hope everyone's doing all right. It's a bit of a strange time, isn't it?
It is. It genuinely is. Surreal. It's just so surreal.
I thought I wasn't going to get annoyed by all the little things that normally annoy me, but today I have had I've just the most amazing amount of annoyance today at computers crashing, technology not doing what we need it to do. But I guess we need to take a moment and go, actually, none of that matters. It really doesn't matter. But yeah, there we are. How are you, Daniel?
Yeah, I'm good. I've been beavering away. I spent 2 days trying to get anything resembling a guitar sound from all of my plugins and digital stuff, and I think I'm getting closer.
Yeah, how's that? Is it working? Do you think you'll stick with it?
I see how we go. I've got a couple of rhythm tracks done.
Yeah.
How did you go with recording the amps at low volume?
Good so far. What's been interesting. So, for anyone not aware, Dan and I tried to fill some of our. I haven't had any spare time yet. I'm looking forward to being bored. But when that time comes, Dan and I are recording some music. Him, as you can see, Dan's in his home studio room there, and I've set one up at home, and we're going to do vlogs on those upcoming. It's going all right, actually. I haven't actually recorded any guitar yet.
Okay.
Largely because my computer keeps crashing, which is really boring. So that's boring. But I've got this part, right? So the song, I've written this song that is entirely, based around the, what's it called? Where everything is the E major scale or the major scale. Diatonic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then the diminished one. Yeah.
Yep.
So and it's really interesting if you think about Bob Dylan's Like a Rolling Stone.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or just do The Cure.
Yeah.
It's all the same thing.
There's so many songs that are just basic diatonic harmony, and by that we mean the steps of the major scale and the harmonies within there. What's the other one I was thinking about the other day? John Mayer, Slow Dancing in a Burning Room. Which is all E major,
Straight down the scale there, yeah. Oh, Andrew Davies says, love the show. Thanks for keeping us sane during this crazy time. Our pleasure, Andrew. We're here. We'll do what we can. Yeah.
So back to the point. Hello, Andrew. We'll get to some comments in a minute. I promise. Thanks to BV for moderating today as well. So I've done the melody based on that scale, starting on the is it the major seventh, the one that's the semitone?
Yeah.
Sometimes I play it on the show where I go. Right?
It's lovely.
And when you play it over the fat drums, Catherine said, "Oh God, it sounds like Yellow by Coldplay." So I'm like, right, we can't have that. So instead of playing this, I'm going to try and create the rhythmic repeats with the delay. So I go. and then use the volante to get the.
Awesome.
And it's been
Mick, you play that bit again, and I'll play Yellow over the top. You ready?
okay. Ready?
Yeah.
2, 3, 4. Yeah. But this see, now this is an interesting. But isn't this an interesting point about songwriting? Because the minute you write anything, it's going to be familiar in some way.
Yeah, of course.
Because
of course.
all, especially if you do a diatonic melody like that, because the Beatles, literally wrote the book on that. So, so I was trying to think of a way to make it not like that and use an effect to create the rhythmic thing. Obviously, the backing track's nothing like it, and the bass is totally different, the drums are totally different, and the vocals are totally different.
Yeah.
But I've been having some fun doing that.
Oh, that's great, mate.
And I get to play that chord, which I love. And it was all yellow. Anyway, we start with a tangent as usual.
Yeah.
So that's what we're doing. We're writing songs. I'm enjoying it actually.
Good. Well, I've just finished editing the second EP, the second episode of my vlog EP, but it's just where we went into record the drums, and I'm now filming the third part, recording the guitars. Boy, oh boy, it's hard. What I'm finding really hard about it is, like, whenever I've recorded an album or anything like that, I've gone in and I'm the guitar player.
Yeah.
So I'd go in and I get my sounds and I'd play.
Yeah.
What I've got to do now is I've got to switch between being a guitar player and an engineer all at the same time.
Yeah.
And that's, there are people who are obviously really good at that.
It's a total.
And it's going to take me a little while to get better at that. It's a real skill.
It's a creativity killer, isn't it?
Oh man, it really does.
When you've got to think about latency and plugins.
Because it really is that this is the work part. And I think the first part of the vlog, you see me so frustrated just trying to get this sound.
Yeah.
And because, I'm new to this technology, and all the stuff is great. It all sounds great. Obviously, the weak part is me. But, I finally get a sound and I go to play something. I'm like, man, okay, I'm going to take a break, try and come back, put a performance in.
Yeah.
But, people who can write and record and come out with these amazing things all done at home, it's, the creativity part is 10, 15%. But it's an essential part, and it's got to be there. And when it's time to be creative and to perform, you've got to be on it.
Yeah.
Then you've got to be awesome at everything else. So I'm having an absolute blast. Oh my goodness!
I know. That's why I've That's why I've kept the guitar technology to everything I know. So amps, mics.
Yeah.
And even
I'm in a tiny little room in a house full of people, and I think this situation, what I'm trying to do is embrace technology that will allow you to record. So I've got the amps here, and they're plugged into a torpedo reload. So the amps are cranked, and so I'm working with the amps that I know, but in a situation that I can have monitors and record quietly. And it's been an absolute eye opener.
Yeah. I think I've come to the conclusion where I've gone, okay, these are demos. And if the songs are ever worth anything, I'm going to get a group of people in a room and record them with humans making music.
Nice.
And then they'll mean something, because it is a bit metronomic, isn't it? It's I
really enjoyed the songwriting process.
Yeah.
But that's been, when did we go to Germany? When was that?
A year ago. No, 10 months ago.
10 months ago.
9 months ago.
So that's how long this process has been going on for.
Yeah.
And so that the songwriting part, I loved. It was so much fun. But I've done that now, and I feel like, okay, well, if that, let's chalk that down as the creative process. Now it's the work part,
Yeah.
especially because I'm not understanding a lot of what I'm doing. But it's been, Fraser's been a great help, and Fraser is in the You'll Meet Fraser in episode 2, where he comes on and talks about the how he's recorded the drums. Because obviously I can't record drums in this room, but I'm just trying to get as much of it, much as I possibly can done in this room. But anyway, that's how I'm filling my. Well, it's not as if I'm not flat out with a million other things, but it's definitely a project for this period. Christopher Powell says, for my favourite show and 2 of my favourite guitar players, thanks for all you do. Thank you, Christopher. That's very generous, mate. That's very, very kind.
DJ Ashley, blimey, you've got your...
Boy, oh boy.
That's very generous of you, DJ. Thank you so much. Hi, guys. Curious if you've ever heard of Kruangbin. Discovered them just before lockdown, and the guitar playing is phenomenally melodic. Had changed the way I hear music. It's a must hear. Their rig rundown is extremely interesting as well. That's Kruangbin, Kruangbin.
So, yes. Have you heard of them, Mick?
No.
Okay, so I took my son to an indoor climbing centre about a month ago. And we're, climbing the walls and having a great time. And I hear this music playing. And I'm like, what on earth is that? And I'm sort of half looking at my son up a wall with no harness or anything on. And just the rest of my attention is on this music, and I managed to get him, get off the wall without me being too preoccupied. And I just ran up to the counter and I said, what's playing? And it was a Spotify playlist, and it was Kruangbin. I don't know how you pronounce it, but it is extraordinary. It's just the guitar textures. Oh my goodness, absolutely beautiful. So I downloaded a couple of albums, and yeah, they're in high rotation at the moment, but definitely worth checking out. Really, really beautiful, beautiful stuff.
Oh, that's cool. I shall check them out. Somebody's saying, are you guys actually going to answer any questions? So maybe we should answer some questions.
Let's buck the trend and just...
Yes. We're loosely talking about Friday's video, which was our first foray into asking how do we get better tape delay sounds from pedals. So maybe there'll be some questions on that. If not, we will get to some others. So J2072, hi Jay, says, chaps, great to see last week's Q&A. It was hilarious. Question about tone benders. Can you do a settings roundup on a selection of pedals, including the CBA Brothers, Chase Bliss Audio, as most of us here will never get to play them? A settings roundup. What does that mean? Does that mean...
It's like, I think it means trying to comp the tone bender sounds with settings of other pedals.
Oh, I see. What a good idea. It's a
good idea. It's certainly a challenge.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's my favourite Strat tone from Les Paul.
Yeah. What we should do is get some modern available tone benders that sound good.
Oh, I've got a bunch on the way.
Yeah, and then see how close we can get with some sort of do-it-all type overdrive pedals. A bit like we've done with the tape delays for the next couple of weeks.
Cool.
So yes, Matt Harpster says, I had to do that for my projects for years, being a mixer, engineer and producer as well as guitarist. It's a lot to do, so many hats, plus if you have to record the video as well. Yeah, I deliberately haven't gone heavy on the vlogging because I can't do that as well. So I've just sort of done little phone things at the end of each hair pulling out session.
What, for your songs?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I've done a little bit, and I'll do a bit more, but I can't. If I'm trying to program drums, I need to think about programming drums.
Oh yeah. I mean, I was very loose about you know, I'm only really focused on one song, and it was just really loose about that. I'm just sort of concentrating on the process of, you know, getting it out, because that's the part that I'm completely new to. But I think, I'd love to see how you approach it. Definitely think that'd be absolutely fascinating.
My problem is my problem in life generally, where everything's got to be perfect before I can move on, and therefore nothing gets done.
Right.
So I need to drop that.
Man, I am the yin to your yang.
So the bass thing was probably 200 takes.
Right.
Because I can't play bass.
Yeah.
So I set up 2 tracks, one above one another, and play it till I make a mistake, and then start recording on the top one. When I think I've got everything I need, I then comp it together.
Okay.
It's hilarious. Because you know what? Playing a bass is like, I have to put a rag through the strings at the end, down by the bridge.
Right. Totally. Yeah.
So that it thuds it. Because if I've got an open string on a precision, forget it.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, good compressor will help sort that out, but it doesn't help the tone, really. It just helps the level.
See, I'm rolling the tone nearly all the way off on the bass track, and I'm just getting so there's nothing gets in the way of the guitars, and it sounds great. I love it.
Yeah, I think we both love that sort of bass sound, don't we? Bit of Jameson, bit of Pinot.
It's wonderful.
Thank
you, Paul. That's very kind, mate. Thank you. That's very generous.
Long Nights in Office says, do you think this crisis will have an impact on the used gear market and prices of gear in general?
Oh, interesting.
I think like every business, well, actually not every business, some businesses are absolutely stretched to their utter capacity at the moment, like online ordering businesses, for example. But yeah, I mean, it's going to have an effect on everything, isn't it? Everything's going to slow down for a bit. Everyone's going to panic. And a bit like all the panics before, everyone panics. The rich get richer, the poor get poorer, because the poor panic more than the rich. And that's how that goes. So less panic all around would be a good thing, even though it's a really scary thing. And just hit pause, sit on it. And then in a few months, it will all seem like a bad memory.
So that's a really important point. This is finite. There's an end to this.
Yeah.
And what's going to happen is, because we've all been locked indoors, and as soon as there's an end to this, all those gigs are going to be back, because everyone's going to want to go out, and enjoy themselves. All the tours are going to be back on, like with force.
The vengeance, yeah. There'll be like a post-war.
So I'm doing a little thing at the moment where I'm like, it's a challenge. It's like, okay, this is a unique time where you can spend a couple of months and really focus on an aspect of your playing that you've wanted to improve for a long time. I remember when I was gigging like 5 nights a week, and I didn't practice. For that 10-year period, I don't think I practiced once. And it's like, okay, there's a window here that if there is something that you want to work on, you can do it.
Yeah.
And when you go back out there to play, be a better version of who you were.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's my little soapbox.
I feel the need to quote Casey Musgraves in in solidarity with you, Daniel.
Right.
If you want to find a silver lining, it's got to be a cloudy day.
Ah, that's very good.
If you want to fill your bottle up with lightning, you're going to have to stand in the rain.
That's very good.
Etc. Etc. And that's it, isn't it? There are opportunities in this, as blooming boring and scary as it is. There are opportunities, which is what you're saying. Yeah. So I don't know. Used gear, maybe. Just pause. Just pause. Don't buy anything.
Gear, yeah.
Don't sell anything. Just pause. Just pause.
Yeah.
Everything's fine.
Yeah.
Or, there will be some people taking advantage and being speculative and taking advantage of people's fears and offering them low money for their stuff they need to sell because they need to buy food and stuff like that. Let's move on.
Boy, oh boy.
Jeremy Kalassa. Thank you, Jeremy.
Thank you, Jeremy.
He says, if I spray or wipe my guitar with disinfectant, that won't hurt or damage it, right? It won't affect the strings or the electrics, ? Stay safe, stay healthy, keep the gain up. Thanks, Jeremy. I guess it depends what disinfectant it is. Obviously, keep any liquid used sparingly wherever you put it on the guitar, especially you don't want to be putting any liquid directly into any, pickup cavities or anything like that. But if you apply the liquid to the cloth and then use the cloth, unless it's something very, very unpleasant, I wouldn't have thought it's going to cause any damage.
But why spray the guitar with disinfectant? Why not just wash your hands and clean your hands first before you play the guitar? Are a lot of people playing the guitar? I don't quite understand.
Depends who's playing it. Yeah, hopefully not. Right. A lot of people are, because we should all be social distancing. But yeah, no, shouldn't really cause any trouble. But as always with any liquids and any guitar, sparingly on the cloth, not directly on the guitar.
Yes. There you go. Very good.
Victor Eduardo Lopez. Hello, Victor. Hey. Thank you, Victor. He says, hello, gents. Totally not a great question for this moment. All questions are good, Victor, and we welcome them all. How do you do the logistics of moving your gear from home to gig venue and some stuff you always take to a gig? So how do you take your stuff from home to gig, Dan?
Okay, so I've got a little foldable trolley, a little foldable sat truck. And I get my matchless and my pedal board on that. My telly goes in my gig bag on my back. And in the other hand, I'll take the J20. And I can do the whole run for everything I need for my wet dry rig in one go.
Yep. I have, as you can imagine, a very regimented system of packing things away into specific boxes.
Honestly, you know what, Mick? Let's do a show on that one day.
Yeah.
Because it's incredible. You are the gold standard of preparing for a gig.
Well, I'll let you into a secret, Dan. Not only do I pack and prepare for a gig, but I also think about the 3 things you're going to forget. Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, yeah, and I appreciate it.
No worries.
I appreciate it.
No worries. Okay, so thanks for that, Victor. I guess it's harder if you don't have a car and you have to use public transport or whatever to get to your gigs. But if you are lucky enough to have a car and you can drive to your gigs, then it's easy because you can just chuck it all in the car. But, everything needs a fairly protective case of some kind, whether it's a bag for your cables or a cover for your amp. Dan and I don't. You use hard cases, don't you, for guitars?
Well, I'm just using the Blues, Union Blues.
Reunion Blues.
Reunion Blues.
They are fantastic gig bags.
Gig bags, and they are fantastic. I mean, the only time. So flight cases, if I'm flying, which I never do anymore. When we flew back from Germany, we bought those 2 flight cases for the guitars, which was great. And so if we ever need to fly again, they're there.
Yeah.
But every other time, the guitar goes in the gig bag, which goes on top of the. It's the last thing to go in.
Yeah, I don't use hard cases anymore. Maybe if I get another car one day, I will go back to hard cases, but they don't fit in any sensible size car these days.
No, that's right.
Anyway, Zachary Manzanetti. Thank you, Zachary.
Ooh.
Hi from Sacramento, California. Hello, California. Hoping you and yours are and staying well. Yes, we are. Thank you very much. Thanks for your show. It's such an inspiration. I went out and bought a used 2017 US Strat, and I'm back to playing hours a day. Good for you, man.
Awesome. That's great, mate.
That's, like I said, there's opportunities in this. Christopher Burnett, thank you, Christopher. He says, have either of you been able to try the Keeley Fuzzbender? I got one a few weeks ago and love it. Anything from filth to great cleanup, even with humbuckers. We've got one in the cupboard. Have we done a...
Yeah.
We haven't actually done a... I think we've done a pedal jams with it, haven't we?
No, I don't think we have.
Oh, okay.
No, we played it when it first came out, and it's taken a while to get it. But I remember who's that amazing Charlie Hunter
Yeah.
was visiting the stand, and we were playing it when Charlie was there.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's an awesome sounding thing.
Okay, we should get that on Pedal Jams. On the subject of Pedal Jams, we've been promising one for tomorrow. It won't be tomorrow. I'm hoping it'll be Wednesday because my blessed computer keeps crashing and it's doing my head in. So,
Is it the new one?
Yeah, it's something. Okay, here's boring. With respect to everyone who's got much bigger problems at the moment, I bought a new machine because my old machine was just getting a bit slow with video editing, and I bought the very top MacBook Pro you could buy. It was nearly £4,000.
Oh,
It was insanely expensive, and it's lightning fast, and it's really good. I then switched to DaVinci Resolve for video editing, and it's just not stable. It just crashes and crashes and crashes.
really?
It's so annoying because it is such a great platform. The color is awesome in it. The editing is awesome in it. The audio is incredible in it, but it just keeps crashing. So there's obviously some problem with my file path or the cache or the render cache or some of that stuff that I don't understand. So it's back to Premiere for me, unfortunately, which also doesn't work with Macs because Apple and Adobe have fallen out over CUDA and Metal. So, there you go. 21st century problems amid a worldwide crisis. There's mine. So, anyway, all of which is to say, Pedal Jams will be on Wednesday this week, not Tuesday. So, mix mode.
Mix mode.
Dan Peacock says, I'm getting into octave fuzzes, and the effect on my Boss Katana has a warble at times. That is rather annoying. I thought it was something having to do with the Boss, but I heard it elsewhere. What can I do to mitigate that? The warble, Dan, is probably the fuzz trying to find its octave, and that's just part of it. If you've got an octave down, that'll happen on low notes for... you need to play really cleanly. If it's happening in the upper register, that's just what they do. That's the sound, isn't it?
Yeah. So it's one of those. If you get a fuzz that has lots of that in it, lots of harmonics in it, it's one of those effects that you learn to play.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not something that you just kick on and suddenly it adds a new element to your playing. You need to learn to play that effect.
Yeah.
The first thing, if you're getting into octave fuzzes, put your neck pickup on and play some lead lines around the 12th fret.
Yeah.
Just to get used to the way that sounds, and then start exploring, further around the neck. But that will give you a very solid, stable area where those notes are going to sound good.
So, Dan,
and that'll get you started.
One of the reasons my song goes in the all that stuff is because the breakdown section. Hang on. Well, they've put all the tuners on the wrong way up. Whose silly idea was that? The breakdown section goes into a groove, right? So bearing in mind that we're in E major, yeah?
Yep.
Is the key center of the song. And the relative minor of E major, Dan, is?
The relative minor of E major, C sharp minor.
C sharp minor.
Yep.
So what's great about C sharp minor and E major is you can, if your song's in E major, then the breakdown section and the guitar solo is over C sharp minor.
Right.
So I'm going full on John Mayer, Doyle Bramall.
You are.
Post Stevie Ray, and guess where we are on the fingerboard? So guess what effect I'm going to use on that?
Oh yes, yeah, right up there, nice.
So this neck pickup, if you play your bluesy licks here with an octave fuzz with the volume pot roll back a bit, that is the shit, my friends.
This isn't it.
I apologise for the swearing, but there's no other way to describe it.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, there you go.
Wow, my 4 songs, I only have one guitar solo.
I wasn't going to have one, and then I thought, hang on a minute, that's insane. So I put one in.
Oh, well done. See, and I've sort of snagged when I was doing the demos. I snagged the solo that I'm really happy with. So that's the one part I'm going to reamp.
Yeah.
And yeah, see
that'll
how I
be
go with that.
interesting.
But yeah, that's cool, man. That's awesome.
Richard Henry. Hi, Richard. Hi, guys. Hope you both well. Looking forward to the rescheduled Andy Timmins shows. Catch you both in Liverpool.
Yay! Woo!
First off, thank you, Richard. Thank you for that. Secondly, thanks for mentioning that, because we should tell everybody that the Andy Timmins gigs that were scheduled in early April are now rescheduled for the end of September in the same venues on the same relative nights of the week. The venues have been awesomely accommodating, and we've managed to get that in and booked for the end of September, which is to say that if you were coming to those gigs, you will have received an email that says, your ticket will be valid for the new show. If you can't make it, we'll refund you with great pleasure, obviously. But some people haven't got those emails because they've gone into their spam. So if you have bought a ticket for any of those shows with Andy Timmins and you haven't received the email, it's probably in your spam, but that's what's happening. I was then minded of The Meaning of Life by Monty Python, where
I was exactly the same thing.
Where the teacher is going, and if you're going home for the weekend, put your brother's coat on the lower peg and write your letter home to your mother.
Oh, that's so funny. For the first time in my life, I actually equated spam folder to, I love it. I'm having spam, baked beans, ham, and spam. Right, Kevin. Hi, Kevin. He says, have you guys tried the Mesa California tweed yet?
I've got one at home. Literally the day before the lockdown, it turned up. And
awesome.
I took it home and I plugged it in for the first time. I really, really like it.
Brilliant.
So I haven't been able to crank it properly yet, but that multi-watt setting is really cool. It's got a really lovely range of gain. And as a long-time fan of Mesa amps, it has quite a different mid-range character too.
Okay.
Yeah, I really like it. I really, really do like it. So I'm looking forward to cranking that up.
Brilliant.
Robert Newby says 5 Yankee quids for my favourite show. Thank you, Robert.
Thank you, Robert.
And
You legend.
Michael Fours, hi Michael, says, building a Partsacaster, what neck would you recommend?
If you go down to a local Fender dealer, you can buy a Strat that it comes with the body and the hardware and strings and everything.
I think
absolute bargain.
Most of the parts manufacturers are really good these days. WD Music, for example, Warmouth.
Warmouth are really good.
They're all great, all very consistent. It's such a weird thing because even if it's the perfect finish and the perfect shape, how can you be sure that neck is going to work with the body? That's the bit I don't get about, if I play 100 Strats, I might love 2 of them.
Yeah.
And you would love 2 different ones.
Yeah, of course. So when my vintage Strat got stolen, I had someone build a Telecaster for me. I thought, I'm going to get all the best woods and the best pickups available. And I got this builder in Australia, lovely guy, really talented guitar builder. And he built this amazing guitar. And I played it for 2 gigs and I just knew it was a dog. I just couldn't. I really tried to bond with it. I'd spent a fortune on this guitar. And it had all the best wood that you could, it was amazing. It was the most expensive of everything. It just didn't work as a guitar.
Yeah, it's a funny.
And then I went back and the guy that I was borrowing this Telecaster from to get me through these gigs, I ended up buying that guitar from him and played that guitar for years and years until I got red.
Mm. One thing I'd recommend to have a look at, Michael, is there's an American site called The Stratosphere, and I'm not quite sure how it works, but they seem to get all the second and over parts from Fender and Gibson. So they've got tremendous stocks of all kinds of stuff. The Stratosphere, it's called. They have a good mailing list, and there's some good stuff on there. So maybe have a look at that.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, it's Fender and Gibson. If you want something more specific, I'd highly recommend Warmouth.
Yes, very cool. Adam Loke says, "Hi, gents. The great thing about this working from home is that I can watch your VCQs live. More time for playing guitar and tinkering with pedal boards. Catch you at the new Lil's Day." Awesome, Adam.
Great. See you there, Adam.
Yeah, really looking forward to it. It is going to be so much fun. I mean, obviously, you know, it like every other gig in the world, we had to postpone it, which was gutting, but it's going to happen. So it's going to be an awesome set of gigs. Actually, Ted Eyre. Ted Eyre says, "What are your thoughts on Goldfoil pickups?" And I'll get to that in a second. But John Cooper said, "I'll be at the rescheduled Whitney gig. I'm looking forward to it immensely." That said, it's a bit rich calling it a UK tour when you're only playing in England. Yes, but I think we are driving through Wales, aren't we? At some point? I don't know.
Not sure.
Yes, but Ted Eyre says, "What are your thoughts on Goldfoil pickups?" And one of the guitars that you were playing, I noticed, Mick, yesterday, you had your...
I've got 2 guitars with gold foils in.
Yeah, they're amazing, aren't they?
They're lovely. I really like them. And I've got another set that I'm going to put in a strap maybe. But one of the guitars... Oh, it's at home. Both of my gold foil guitars at home. One of them is that weird Supro thing, the small body Supro. And the other one is my Collings 360 LT, which don't play on the show that much. It is a really unique sounding thing. They've got punch and clarity like single coils, but they have compression like humbuckers, or at least the ones I do have. I think they vary quite a bit depending on whether the was it Taisco and brands like that, the Japanese brands in the 60s and 70s, 60s, 50s even. I don't know. Don't actually know much about them, but they are palpably different as a P90 is to a single coil or a humbucker.
Do you remember that guitar I played at the Keeley stand years ago?
Yeah.
And it had gold foils in it, and the sound of that guitar haunts me to this day.
Yeah. They definitely have a compression in them that can be quite hard work.
That's it.
If you hit the guitar like Dan and I do, and you want that endless dynamic response, they're not great for that. But if you play a bit more considered, and I really like them. Really like them. But
awesome.
Travis Schneider. Hello,
Schneider.
Travis. He says, "Hey guys, what would you recommend as an alternative to the Kingsley Harlot? I'm asking because of wait times and price." Right, Kingsley Harlot.
You could try a Kingsley Constable, or you could try a Kingsley Squire, or you could even try a Kingsley Page.
Here's the Harlot. It's a tube-driven overdrive. It has quite a lot of gain, doesn't it?
It does.
So what is going to sound really nice and smooth and valvey and it is quite a smooth overdrive, isn't it? It's a really touch-sensitive, smooth overdrive with plenty of it.
Yeah. Let me think.
I mean, stuff with valves in.
What about a BK Butler? Tube.
Yep. If you can find one.
Yeah. The tube driver.
What else has got a valve in it? There's the Victory preamp pedals.
The Effectride stuff is incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a tough one, that, because there are pedals with valves in them out there, but they're almost there for show. In some pedals, they're not really driven at a decent plate voltage, and I'm trying to think what is a really great.
What Victory offering would work?
The Sheriff's probably a bit too harsh. It's very martially, very kind of aggressive, plexi martially. Actually, I tell you what is really great is the Kraken one. And
It's so good.
everyone sort of assumes that the Kraken is only for hard metal, but the Channel 1 is really lovely, almost cranked vintage Marshally. That is really nice. Yeah, so Victory V4 series, the Kraken, is a really great choice if you want it to be all valve. That's actually got 4 valves in it.
Oh, nice.
But a really great all-round smooth overdrive with plenty of sort of touch sensitivity. Cornerstone Gladio
Yeah.
is awesome. That's what I use. The Jesse Davy Duelist, also quite expensive and a bit of a weight on that, so that's probably not a very good shout. Oh man, there's just so many great overdrives out there.
Yeah.
I'm going to give a totally random shout out to an overdrive pedal that is much underloved.
Oh, I think I know what this is.
This is really interesting. Full tone Plimsoll, right?
Yeah.
It can
That's
sound
a great shout, actually, Nick.
it can sound kind of, I'm not going to say tube screamery, but it can sound kind of mid-pushed traditional overdrive, but it's got this second hard clipping stage which gives it some lovely edge and extra compression.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should use that on the show. It's a really great overdrive pedal, that.
Yeah. I remember we have used it before, but when we did the Captain's pedal board and he had it on there, man, it sounded awesome.
Yeah, it's a lovely thing. So yeah, it's tough though. How many great overdrive pedals are there? Millions.
Yeah.
Millions. Well, hundreds of thousands. Soren Ledet says, from Denmark, by the looks of things, thank you, Soren, says,
thank you, Soren.
Love the show. You guys keep me sane through all this corona thing. Thanks for inspiring us all. We feel you. It's
yeah.
Yeah, I think we're all leaning on each other a bit more today. I know I've made a phone call or two more than I normally would.
Yeah, I'm reaching out to people who I haven't talked to in a while.
Yeah.
And I'm keeping a very close contact with my family. Yeah, it's great. I tell you what's really interesting. So there's 4 of us in this house. I've got my wife and my son and my daughter. And, we keep trying to keep them motivated to do schoolwork and all that sort of stuff. But, spending every hour of the day with them has been wonderful. It's been really great. Yeah, and it's like this will be a period of our lives that we'll never forget.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll change a great many people, and obviously it'll change some people in an unfortunately negative way, of course, because of the effects of it. If you know anyone that's died, for example, that's going to be a horrific marker of change. But in others, it will change people for the better.
Yeah,
it will.
Yeah, I believe that. I believe that totally.
I do too. I think
just a different perspective.
Yeah, being a bit more grateful for what you have and all of that.
Yes,
I'm sure there'll be plenty of people who just go absolutely straight back to normal. There will be some people who do that, but I think many of us will think a bit differently after this.
Yeah. Ben Keane says, what about tape echo preamps? Years ago, I used a 60s WEM copycat echo into a Marshall 200 watt head into dual Showman 2x15 JBL cabinet. Monster. Surprised I could hear anything. Well, first of all, thank you, Ben. That's very generous. The next part of the tape show that's coming up, we go into quite a lot of depth about the preamps. The preamps are such a massively important part of the sound of the tape delays. Cannot be underestimated.
Yeah, I mean, it's like having a really brilliant overdrive pedal before your delay, isn't it? That's what it is.
Yeah. No, they're a really big deal, Ben. Yeah. I mean, and we've mentioned it on the show loads of times, but back in the day when tape delays were what you could use, before even the analog delays came out, people were buying tape delays, but turning the tape delay off and just using the preamps to juice their amps more, to drive their amps a bit harder.
Oh, the one in the full tone is just magic, isn't it?
Oh, it's just incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, so with mix, full tone. What model is your full tone, Mick?
Tube Tape Echo. The Tube Tape Echo, the TTE.
The TTE. And just the sound, and the feel of when that thing is driving the amps, it's just spectacular.
Yes. Okay. There was a question here from Matt Moore. There we are. I found it. Matt Moore. Hello, Matt. Matt says, Dan, can I use the Wetterbox to produce an analog dry-through with my Walrus D1 if I max the mix on the D1?
Yes, you totally can.
You can also do it with the J-Rocket Ape, which
yes,
it would have been
That's
on.
a great shout.
Would have been on Pick and Mix tomorrow if Pick and Mix was happening tomorrow. Pedal Jams it's happening on Wednesday, but you can see the Ape doing that very thing with the Mako D1, where we set the D1 to 100% wet with one repeat and use the Ape to do everything else. Sorry, Dan. Just to finish that, the Wetterbox is a much better option though if you just want a straight kind of to create the parallel signal path. The Ape adds a load of preampy sound to it as well.
Yeah, but the preamp sound in the Ape is incredible.
Yeah.
I just got BV's just sent a question through to me. It says from Metal Thrashing Matt.
Hello, Matt.
He says his fuzz face works with a digital true bypass delay, but sounds harsh and fizzy with a Maxon true bypass 89 analog delay. Any ideas why? The 89 wasn't true bypass, unless you've had it modded. So I'm assuming you're putting. So okay, this is really interesting. Try this then. Try this. When I had my first germanium fuzz, and I bought a Memory Man and put after it, and before I knew anything, and I took the Memory Man back thinking it was broken because every time I turned it on, my sound was rubbish. And one thing that's really important to remember is it's not just the input impedance of the fuzz, but also the output impedance. The output impedance of a fuzz pedal, like a germanium fuzz pedal like that, is quite high. So if it turns the suddenly into a really low output impedance with a buffer that you place after it, it can have a similar effect of making the fuzz sound harsh and tinny.
Yeah.
So now, if you've got a pedal that isn't true bypass, right, but the buffer has been filtered or whatever, so it doesn't sound tinny, then that can work. But if you've got a pedal that is true bypass, but every time you kick it on, when you kick the pedal on, even though the pedal's true bypass, when the circuit is engaged, that circuit effectively becomes the buffer and changes that impedance. So, So what's happening there is it's just changing the impedance of that fuzz, and some people are more susceptible to it. Mick is hugely susceptible to buffers of any sort, and not so susceptible, sensitive.
Yeah.
And in some situations they're good, in some situations they don't really work that well. But certainly the fuzz is one thing where it's tricky. I think another show on fuzzes and buffers we'll really get into it.
Would be good to understand that. But what Dan was saying about the fact that your digital true bypass delay is having a different effect, obviously, than your analog delay, which you say is true bypass if it's modded in the case of the Maxon. It's just doing it's having a different effect, and that is a cause of great annoyance with things like delays, univibes, all kinds of things that I particularly struggle with after fuzzies. got to be really careful what you run after the fuzz. I do anyway.
Yeah, definitely.
Matt Vermeer. Hello, Matt. Matt Vermeer says, as an amateur guitar player, hello, we're all amateur guitar players, is there really any justification for me spending the money for a Silver Sky, PRS Silver Sky, when my skills are more on a par with the Squire Affinity? Yes. Yes, you should definitely buy the PRS Silver Sky.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is you play the guitar is an aspirational thing. We've all got guitars that are way beyond our ability. And there's a guitar that was designed in 1950. It was the first ever solid body electric guitar. Well, actually it wasn't, but it was the first mass produced, commonly available solid body electric guitar. And that came out in 1950. 2 planks of wood. This guitar is still light years ahead of anybody on the planet in terms of being able to play it.
Yeah, right.
There isn't a single human alive that can do everything that this guitar can do.
Yeah.
So we've all got loads of guitars that are way better than us. That's my favourite example of one.
I've got this that I really have no right to even hold in my hands.
Yeah.
But they, it's what inspires you to play. One of the first things I do when I get up in the morning is pick this guitar up, even just to play a couple of chords.
You got to want it. You got to want the guitar.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So yes,
it's like
do it.
You see people driving these really expensive cars. They're not all Formula One race car drivers. You know what I mean? They're just like people who, it's what they like. We like guitars and pedals and amps and stuff. And that's okay.
Yeah. Guitars are so cheap compared to cars as well.
Oh, yeah.
Especially the money you lose on them.
Michael Gleason says, endless thanks to both of you for endless hours of informative entertainment. How do you practice? I primarily play along with songs. It got me through my BA in music performance on guitar and plenty of gigs. Cheers, gents. Thanks, Michael. Okay, so I've started a practice regime. I started was it last year? I can't even remember. But recently, I started taking it seriously. I use an app called iReal Pro, which enables me to practice songs with, and I can pick the instrumentation, I can pick the key, I can pick the tempo, and I can actually write, things in there as well. Do you remember that old program Band in a Box? It's sort of similar to that. So I'm getting back into my jazz, and so that's been amazing. But man, playing along with songs, the great thing about playing along with songs, I remember I was doing some sessions in Sydney, and there's this bass player, a guy called Sam. I can't remember. He was in a great band called Dig. Amazing bass player. And I asked him how he got so good because he was mind blowing. And he said, I just play along with, James Brown and all these guys. And he's like, when you play along with that stuff, it's, you are playing along with the band. And you get to, you hear the different grooves and different characters that all these players bring along. And it's one of the best things to do is, play along with those tunes. But, I'm listening to very little except Pat Martino these days. I'm trying to play along with some of his tunes, and it's such an eye-opening thing, just playing along with those songs and seeing how he approaches it and stuff. So yeah, you do it's the right way to do it.
Yeah, you've got to. There's a sort of. Your stomach's even grumbling through this, Dan.
I know. Can you hear that? That was my stomach. Yeah. My wife's made some lasagna and I can smell it. It smells so good.
You've got, when it comes to playing and practicing, you've got to sort of, it's got to fit that. It needs to be something new that you're learning, but it also needs to be in context so that it makes sense. And then you've also got to want to do it. And if you take away any of those one elements, the learning becomes much harder. So if you're just the kind of, I've never practiced, literally never practiced the guitar because I can't do it, because I went through a stage where I tried to learn some modal approaches, and I wanted to learn like some stuff that was theory based, and I can't even explain it because I didn't understand it enough because there was no context. So the only learning I've ever done has been this sort of back and forth between, you end up learning a song and you learn the notes, and then somebody tells you something down the line and you go, oh wow, yeah, so that's what that is. And,
Yeah, right.
And you sort of you learn in this weird sort of stone tumbling downhill kind of way, where the force of you going down the hill is you learning the songs, and then you're just picking it all up, and then maybe, I don't know, this is a terrible analogy, then you get to the bottom of the hill and you dust yourself off and you look at everything you've picked up and you kind of understand it a bit more.
But that's the same for everyone.
Yeah.
You know, how so?
But some people have the willpower to sit there and learn. So we've met people down the years, haven't we, where you're sort of explaining something and they're going, oh no, actually that's the seventh mode of the harmonic minor.
Sure.
And they've amassed that level of knowledge.
Yeah. I mean, I've got the willpower to sit down and learn, but I don't have the willpower to say no to dessert. So, you know, we all have strengths and weaknesses.
I think learning stuff that you kind of don't like pop songs and stuff that you might think isn't really guitar centric, and then you learn the chords and maybe pick out some melodies. And
yes.
Working on vocal melodies this week. Simple.
Mm-hmm.
I listened to about 10 really classic, massive songs and just played the vocal melodies on piano. And it's like, simple. And I think doing that on guitar can be quite instructive.
Yeah, definitely. Well, anything that tickles your ear, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, I remember, what was the song? I remember I was driving and there's this line, listening to some West Montgomery, and just hearing this line that's like, oh my God, that's the best thing I've ever heard. And as soon as I got home, brought the CD in and just sat down and you know, just spent an hour trying to work out what it is. And so just anything that would, you know, and that can be as simple as a grum groove or a sax line or whatever.
A grum groove.
Sorry?
You said a grum groove.
A grum, yeah, a grum. Did I really?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? It's like wherever you can find that stuff anywhere. And I think for me, some of my favorite players are players who find inspiration not just in guitars.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? People who really listen to all sorts of things.
Yeah.
It's like you listen to Robin Ford, and like he is so inspired by horn players.
Yeah.
With the way that he phrases stuff, it's really beautiful. You know, yeah. Just keeping your ears open, and when you hear anything that you find really interesting, being able to apply it to guitar is great.
And being honest about what you want as well, isn't it?
Yes.
Like how someone like Guthrie sort of either decided he wanted or had the will to become everything on guitar is, you know, I've never had that desire whatsoever.
Sure.
I've said to you on a number of occasions that actually playing the guitar doesn't interest me that much. The act of playing the guitar is not what I like about it. What I like about the guitar is the guitar,
right,
the object, and the sound.
Yes.
So it's the sound of it that I like, and the feeling you get from the connection with the sound, rather than all that stuff. I've never been interested in all that stuff, which is, I don't really know how to explain that.
No, I get it. I mean, I think I've said before that It took me a while. Lots of people saying, well, they're a musician first, guitar player second. I was never that. I was always guitar player first because it was the guitar that I was so enamored with.
Yeah.
The feel of the thing, the sound of the resonance, the fact it takes both hands to create a note. And it just felt so personal. And so I was always enthralled by guitar and sort of becoming musical on the guitar is something I'm still working really hard on. Whereas some people who are just innately musical, and they can bring that musicality to anything. That's not me. And my whole goal is to be able to get some a way to express anything through this.
Yeah.
Wow, that was deep.
It was. Let's get on to Sunil Yappa. Hello, Sunil, who says, I never understood why my H9 wasn't as inspiring as my lowly DD7. After the wet dry VCQ, I added a parallel dry signal to the H9. Learning has never been so much fun. Wow. Okay.
Wow.
What about ADT in loopers? ADT, automatic double tracking? Is that what that means?
Yeah.
In loopers?
ADTD. It's not that hard.
Oh, come on, Mac. I've got
Mark.
I've got odd socks on.
No, you don't.
I totally do.
I don't believe that for a second.
That is how much this COVID-19. There's my left foot. There's my right foot. God, just a few days of weirdness and it all starts going wrong. ADT and loopers, automatic double tracking and loopers. I don't know about that. And in loopers, do you maybe you mean loop switchers?
I don't know. That's one to look at.
Yes, maybe the question is, could you build in automatic double tracking to something? Is that what the Keeley 30 milliseconds is about?
Yeah, and maybe to a lesser extent
the TC,
the Mimic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should do that. Let's do that show, Dan.
Okay, done, because it is such an interesting question.
30 millisecond double tracker and the Mimic by TC Electronic.
Yeah,
when all this weirdness is over.
A big part of the John Squire sound as well. Christopher C. He says, I was let go from work last week because of this whole mess. Man. You guys are keeping me sane. Cheers from Vermont, USA. Can't thank you enough. Oh, mate.
We're sorry to hear that.
We are really sorry to hear that, and our thoughts are with you. This will end. All this craziness will end. And, normality will ensue.
Yeah, and a new normality will open up for sure.
Yeah,
in the way that it always does. So
thoughts are with you, mate. We're so sorry to hear that.
Snellby67, thank you, Snellby67 says, hi guys, I'm new to guitar 2 years ago and pedal boards. I built a board and someone suggested a noise gate, so I put on an MXR smart gate. I'm not sure what it's doing or how to use it properly.
Adios, muchachos. Unless you're doing metal, right, which you might well be, that'd be really good. But if you're not, and your board is noisy, I think there are probably better ways to approach the board to getting rid of the noise.
Please watch the show that we did about a year or two ago. I don't know, seems like a long time ago now. Dan and I did a show on noise gates, which answers this question in significant detail.
Yep.
Yeah, you can find it in the if you look down through the videos, the list, you can filter by playlist and video sort of topic types, or you can go to thatpedalshow.com, check out our database of gear that we featured in the show and type in noise gate, and that will give you a list of videos that we've featured noise gates in. Yeah.
Corner 1980 says, "Is Grum Drooves and Odd Socks the name of the next TPS EP?" I like that.
That's basically my state of mind. Drum grooves, socks, and crashing computers. It's sort of atonal exploration with loads of Strymon Volante. Rufus 1884, thank you, Rufus, says, "Think I was starting to experience a mild form of cabin fever. This stream has brought me back, so thanks, guys." Cool.
Mate, you're so welcome, and thank you. That's very generous.
It's good. It's good to be here together, isn't it? By the way, no one's had a go at me for coming into the office, which I thought someone might, but just to make
us separated.
Yeah, just to make
the only person that's in the office is your wife.
Yeah, just to make the point.
I
live quite close to the office, so it's not a big journey, and the only people here is me and Catherine, so we don't come into contact with anybody or anything like that. We don't come in every day. We're staying away as much as possible for all the obvious reasons. So just to make that point. Right, there you go, Dan. If no one's got a problem, I'll make one. Patrick Carroll, hello Patrick. Hey guys, love what you've accomplished. Thank you.
Thank you, mate.
Any experience with Music Man or VHT Classic Series amps?
I used an old Music Man for years and years in Australia. It was my main gigging amp. 2x10, 100 watt valve power section with a solid state front end. And it was an absolutely beautiful sounding amp. Yeah. But that was an old one from the 70s.
Yeah. I played in a band with a guy for years, a guy called Steve. And he had the Music Man 65, I think it was. Always sounded great. VHT did a wedding gig once with a VHT Pitbull and an Epiphone Casino. That was all right. But the Classic Series, no, I'm not sure. I think that was after... Now, wasn't Steve Fryette VHT before he was Fryette?
I thought so.
Yeah. So I think that the ownership of the company changed and the sort of direction of the brand changed. So my knowledge is pretty sketchy on that stuff. Yeah.
So I'm watching you with a delay on.
Me?
Yeah, because the visual is delayed like 4 or 5 seconds. Then I can, well, as opposed to what I can hear when I'm talking to you, and it's a bit trippy.
Oh, I see. I see. I
can see
works.
Because when there's a break and I look down, your hands is going, you're being all animated and stuff,
right?
And nothing's coming out, which is So I apologise for any awkward pauses, which I do anyway. So it's business as usual. BV's got a message. Mick and Dan from RC Nation. Have you guys ever checked out Super Clean Booster? I couldn't find it on any of your videos. Thank you so much. So what, just a booster pedal that's really super, super clean. We do talk about it in the booster show. But most boosters do add a little bit of personality. What's just a really, really clean booster?
Is he, sorry, I can't see that comment. Is he referring to a specific pedal? Is there something called the Super Clean Booster?
Clean Booster,
right?
Yeah. So it would be no both times.
Yeah, and of course, if you had a pedal that was just level and that's all it was, whatever else it hits, it would overdrive. So the front of the amp, or the next pedal, but boosters, considering that they ought to be simple, are vastly and wildly different, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a comment that we see quite a lot, says, why don't you guys just use a GE7? Which is a really good example of a super clean boost. It's got loads of headroom, and if you just grab the master volume and turn it up, that is a super clean boost. But there are elements of the boosters that we like to use that often add a little bit of hair or a bit of their own personality, and just tickles the frequencies in a way that sounds really great. Yeah. Oh, someone said the exotic super clean booster.
Yes. No, we haven't seen any of the new exotic stuff.
Haven't seen that stuff.
And we should, because obviously the EP Boost, SL Drive, XP compressor, is it? All phenomenally popular, great pedals. So we should find a way of getting them in.
Yeah.
More seriously, Mark Sieber says, pissed drunk or pissed annoyed? English versus American. So what does pissed? What does pissed mean?
Generally here it's inebriated, isn't it?
Yeah, it means drunk. Yeah. We would say, for the way Americans say pissed, we would say pissed off.
Yeah.
Yeah. So sorry for all the swearies, but there we are. It was a legitimate question.
Mm-hmm. Claudio Tamu says, question for Dan. I'm looking for a Telecaster. My budget is for a Mexican one. Are they good? Great channel. Thank you, Claudio. I'm sure you can find good ones. Mick, I don't know. Are they good?
Yes. It depends. Lots of people, if they're new to Fenders, think they need stuff like flat fingerboard radiuses, modern 2-point trems and all of that. And if that's your bag and you know you like it, great. If you're coming new to this, my recommendation for you is to either find a used Classic Series Telecaster, but one with the nitro finish. So they did some that were called Classic Series Lacquer. They get the very limited color palette. I think maybe there was a two-tone sunburst or candy apple red. I can't remember. Might even be a butterscotch maple board one. But to me, when they existed, those were the best value Fenders you could get, because they were almost proper vintage spec. This Jazzmaster is one, actually. This is a Classic Series Lacquer guitar, so it's Mexican Jazzmaster, but with a nitrocellulose finish, or as close to they can get to a nitrocellulose finish these days. Failing that, they've just brought out the Vintera series, which is, I'm not sure there are any Vintera lacquer ones yet, but they look great. The Vinteras look really good, sort of vintage spec, sensible price. Go play a few if you can possibly go play a few. Do that. But yeah, I'm a big fan of that Classic Series ever since it came out. In fact, the guy that designed it all the way back in like 90. Mike Lewis headed up the project anyway, and I met him when he did it, and was very impressed with those guitars. Dan, you all right, mate?
Yeah, mate. I think so.
What you got?
I think I've had a leak.
Really?
Yeah.
A leak in the ceiling?
Yeah.
Is one of your children left the bath on or something?
I don't know. I might have to go and check it out.
Okay.
Actually, hang on. Give me 2 secs.
Will Dan have a leak in his roof? He's very close to the edge. And somewhere in Swindon... Oh no, Harold. Well, Dan, you know what? It's 7:10. Maybe we should bring this to a close.
Okay. Right. I do have a leak, so I'm going to go and fix this.
Okay, Dan's got a leak in his ceiling. Thanks, everyone, for joining us.
Yes, thank you, everyone.
This week. We will endeavour to be back next week. Pedal Jams on Wednesday. Friday...
TJ Ashley, thank you very much.
...is Rabia Massad's pedalboard build.
Yes.
Speaking of offsets, how are you getting on with them? I really like that. I really like it. I just need to get the trem fixed, and then I'm going to play it a lot more.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. Dan's not having so much fun with the Jaguar. It needs to be breathed on. We need to take it to Johnny.
Yep.
Yeah.
Totally.
Great. Thank you, everybody, for joining us this week.
Thank you, guys. I really appreciate it.
Yes.
Take care.
Be safe.
Sending you lots of love, and we're right there with you guys.
Yeah.
And girls.
Dan needs to go and deal with his leak.
I need to deal with the leak.
Good luck.
Cheers, buddy.
All right. Cheers, everybody. Thanks for joining us. And thank you to BV for moderating as well.
Yeah, thanks, Beef.
Be safe, people.
Yeah.
Please.
Bye.
Hang on. End. There we go.